Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the enshrinement celebration and dinner for the 2019 class of the Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame. Please welcome the chairman of the Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame, Vin Samini.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2019 enshrinement celebration of the Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame. Before we begin our ceremonies, I would ask that you please stand and welcome Warwick native and the powerful new singing voice of the Boston Bruins, Mr. Todd Angeli, to open our festivities with the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Todd. On behalf of the Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame, it is my great privilege and honor to extend sincere congratulations to our 11 honorees this evening. Our 2019 class represents the very best of our state's rich and illustrious 121-year hockey history. Last year, the press tabbed our charter class as the Mount Rushmore of Rhode Island hockey. And as we said at the time, many more could have been added easily to that charter class with hardly an eyebrow being raised as to their worthiness. This year's class is clear evidence of that. It is a diverse group that spans the entire history of our game in Rhode Island. Among them are pioneers, visionaries, and innovators. In some cases, all of the above wrapped into one. We have a Hobie Baker winner, the architect of a Stanley Cup winner, an admired Hall of Fame trainer, an NHL record holder, decorated coaches, and some of the hockey community's most highly recognized and respected voices, dedicated to the game as well as promoting human dignity and equal rights. This has also been a year of new discovery about our hockey heritage. One of the most gratifying aspects being the joy and gratitude expressed by so many in knowing that the accomplishments of their family members are now being remembered and that new light will be shining on them. Thanks to the generosity of the Chase family and supporters like you, one of our early objectives will be realized this coming season with the installation of a Wall of Honor at the Dunkin' Donuts Center, a modern, interactive, touchscreen kiosk which will showcase our hockey history and pay perpetual tribute to the careers and achievements of our honorees. Next on our agenda is a museum, a permanent exhibit to memorialize our hockey history, and the establishment of charitable programs to expand the opportunities for more young Rhode Islanders to enjoy and play the game. To accomplish this, we will need your help, and we thank you in advance for your generous and continued support. Finally, there are many people to thank for this evening, an all-volunteer group, an all-volunteer army, so to speak, beginning with a dedicated group of directors, Mal Goldenberg, Bob Lawrence, Bill O'Connor, Ray Morgan, Richard Oliver, Mark Diver, and Joe McDonald. Thanks also to our astute and diligent selection committee and an all-star support staff contributing the many unique skills needed to chronicle our hockey history and produce a celebration truly worthy of the achievements we pay tribute to. I'd like them all to stand and be recognized. Please, guys. A special thanks to the Chase family, our platinum partner, to our silver partner, Providence College, and for the generous financial support of major sponsors, the National Hockey League Foundation, the NHL Players Association, Bank RI, the Moran family, and the many advertisers, designers, artists, photographers, researchers, schools, and friends of our vast hockey community who generously contribute to this multifaceted undertaking. Most of all, thank you, moms and dads, coaches and officials, fans, friends, families, and the future Hall of Famers among us this evening, whose passion for the game and whose sacrifices and commitment to your children, your programs, your communities, and your schools continues to fuel our proud hockey history. Now it is my great pleasure to turn the podium over to a sportscaster known to all of us in New England. He's back for another year as our MC. A warm Rhode Island welcome once again for our nearby Bellingham neighbor and master of ceremonies for this evening, Mr. Dale Arnold.
Thank you very much. Thanks for letting me be back here with the Rhode Island family hockey reunion here. Let me just tie everything together for you, okay? I started my career, my professional career, in 1979 with the Maine Mariners of the American Hockey League. That was about a year or two after Brian Burke made his debut out of Providence College in professional hockey, and we know where it's gone from there. Let me just say, for those of us who've known Brian since back then, the fact that he has a tie on tonight and that it's actually tied up is a bit of a surprise to us, but it's an indication of how big a deal you guys really are here. So, and by the way, the last words Berkey said to me before I came up here was, "Don't F it up, Dale," which is kind of how our relationship's always been. Let's fast forward a few years. Last spring, the Boston Bruins were in the Stanley Cup playoffs. My mentor was Mike Emmerich. We're at the Garden. I'm in Doc's dressing room, for lack of a better term, and we're just reliving the old days of the AHL and the days of when Doc kind of introduced me to the professional game. Brian Boucher walked in. I congratulated Brian on being elected into the Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame. Doc was shocked because Bouch didn't tell him. And of course, Doc started taking notes, and I'm sure made it a part of the telecast that night. But it was, again, the connection of the hockey family. Brian, of course, went to Mount St. Charles Academy. I had two daughters who went to Mount St. Charles Academy, including one who was a hockey player at Mount. When my daughter was a player at Mount, this is not the humble brag part of this, it's the get ready to kick the crap out of Dale part of this, I arranged for new sweaters for the girls' team. They had gone a while since they'd had new hockey jerseys, and I had them made. So I showed up at practice one afternoon to bring the boxes of sweaters to present to the girls so they could give them to the team in the locker room that afternoon. I was new to Mount. I didn't know the rules. Bill Belisle threw me out of the building. He said parents aren't allowed at practice. He was right, by the way. I just didn't know. So again, the connection of way back then to now, and the fact that I get to be part of this with all of you fills me with such joy and such pride, and I love the fact that this is the Rhode Island Hockey Family Reunion. We'll get things going here, and because Vince has made this type very small on my page, the reading glasses will go on for a little while tonight. As we noted at last year's inaugural ceremonies, There could honestly be no better way to launch a Hockey Hall of Fame induction than the way only Rhode Island can do it, because only Rhode Island can boast that it is the home of the father of ice hockey in the United States, Malcolm Green Chase. Malcolm was born in 1875 in Central Falls. He was a world-class tennis player who also excelled at ice polo, the ice skating game played in New England and the upper Midwest before ice hockey came along. In the winter of 1894, at the invitation of the Victoria Hockey Club of Montreal, Malcolm assembled an ice polo team, which the Canadians tabbed the All-Americans. They barnstormed the major Canadian cities with exhibitions of ice polo, while their hosts taught them the skills and rudiments of ice hockey to bring back to the States. On their return, the players formed hockey clubs at their respective schools: Brown, Yale, Harvard, Columbia, Cornell. Hard to think of what those poor kids were going to do with their lives after that. And of course, this inspired the wealthy elite of Manhattan to construct the famous St. Nicholas Indoor Arena 1 year later. On January 19th, 1898, Brown defeated Harvard 6-0 in the first intercollegiate hockey league game played in the United States. The rest is Rhode Island and USA hockey history. Please welcome to the stage Malcolm's great-grandson, Malcolm Green Chase Jr., and great-great-grandson, Malcolm III, to present the Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame's annual Malcolm Green Chase Memorial Trophy for lifetime achievement and contribution by a Rhode Islander to the game of ice hockey.
Good evening, everyone. This is the second year that I've come here, and it's a real honor to be amongst a really special group of athletes and parents and coaches, and the list goes on and on. I'm extremely humbled to be here. I was not a hockey player myself, but I have a lot of hockey player friends, both in high school and college and beyond. So it is with on the Chase family's behalf this evening. I thank the Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame for the privilege of honoring my great-grandfather and his legacy, by in turn honoring those Rhode Islanders who have spent a lifetime passing the passion he found for this game onto each new generation. This year's recipient has spent most of his lifetime helping to set policy for youth hockey throughout our country, while serving as leader for our nation's men's and women's national teams, competing in international and Olympic play.
Lawrence Larry Reed. Larry Reed was an accomplished baseball, basketball, and football player. However, he never learned to skate and did not play hockey. That didn't keep him from distinguishing himself with his immense off-ice contributions to the game at the local, regional, national, and international level for over 50 years. Reed got involved with hockey when his young son, Jeffrey, fell in love with the game during the Bobby Orr era here in New England. Starting as a volunteer with the East Providence Hockey Association, Reed moved up through the ranks, eventually serving as president of the Rhode Island Amateur Hockey Association. A couple of years later, he started taking on high-profile responsibilities for USA Hockey. He was asked to take charge of the 1986 Olympic Festival in Houston and ended up running Olympic festivals for many years. Larry was a guiding force and the first chairman of the Yankee Conference Festival, which became the centerpiece of the New England Hockey District's player development program and the model for similar programs throughout the nation. As a USA Hockey director, he helped set policy for all youth hockey across the country. Larry became team leader for men's and women's national teams in international play and particularly savored that role with the women at the 2002 Olympics in Salt Lake City, the first women's team to compete in the Olympics on home turf. He also served as technical director for sled hockey. Larry served 18 years as USA Hockey VP and chairman of its marketing council. In 2017, he was elected a Director Emeritus of USA Hockey. Lawrence Larry Reed is the 2019 recipient of the Malcolm Green Chase Memorial Award for his achievement and outstanding service by a Rhode Islander to the game of hockey.
We were saddened to learn this last week that Larry's lovely wife, Ann, recently suffered a serious heart attack. They celebrated 59 years of marriage just yesterday. Larry was pleased to let us know that Ann is now recovering at home, where he properly chose to remain by her side this evening. We ask that you keep Ann and Larry in your thoughts and prayers. Accepting the Chase vase on Larry's behalf, should I say vase? Would it sound classier? On behalf of Larry is his longtime friend, USA Hockey associate, and Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame board member, Mr. Ray Morgan.
Ray, on behalf of the entire Chase family, it is our privilege to present you with Larry's Malcolm G. Chase Memorial Trophy.
Well, this is a first for me. So I'll say good evening to all. And everybody took my thunder from the screen over there. Because first I'd like to say thank you to the Chase family for making this award possible. For those who never had the pleasure of knowing Larry, you just needed to read his profile and watch the screen. He still thinks we should have chosen someone else, and I told him we made the right choice. And his big thing was, I've known him for 45 years, and he always believed in having a place for every kid to play. You didn't have to be number one, you could be number 151. Just as long as you had a place to play. And don't give up. And he believed in that wholeheartedly. And also for Ann, I ask that you keep her in your prayers. She's going to have open heart surgery September 17th. And her heart is really in some bad shape. And the funny thing about it, yesterday they celebrated their 59th anniversary, their wedding anniversary. So once again, on Larry, I'd like to thank you and the Chase family for this award.
Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause and well wishes, please, for Larry, Ann Reed, and the Chase family. Now we get to the first of our Hall of Fame presentations. You may have already recognized the voice on our first video profile, a Pawtucket native, former hockey player at Tolman High School. He's our good friend Dave Gosher, better known as Gosh, longtime radio voice of the Boston Bruins, and now the TV voice of the Las Vegas Golden Knights. Accompanying our inductees to the stage this evening and sporting the personalized Hall of Fame jerseys created for each of them are members of the Providence College and Brown University women's hockey teams. Representing the Lady Friars are Maureen Murphy, Gianna Savastano, Kathleen McHugh, and Sonia Bjornsson. And our Brown players are Darby Mella and Megan Forrest. Like so many national firsts in Rhode Island's incredible hockey history, this has special significance in that Brown University established our nation's first women's collegiate hockey program, the Pembroke Pandas, back in 1964. Our first inductee owes a great deal to that pioneering moment, and the women's hockey movement here and indeed across the nation owes a great deal to her.
Margaret Digidio Digit Murphy. Cranston native Digit Murphy has been a passionate, articulate, and forceful advocate and pioneer in women's hockey, both nationally and internationally, for many years. Opportunities on the ice for young women were limited in Digit's youth, but she didn't let that get in her way. She earned all Ivy honors in all 4 of her years at Cornell and was voted captain in her junior and senior seasons. She was named Ivy League Player of the Year in 1981 and finished her career with 213 points, 3rd all-time for the Big Red, where the Women's MVP award is now named after her. She took over as head coach at Brown University in 1989 and led the Bears to unprecedented success. Her teams made 3 national championship appearances and won 6 ECAC and 5 Ivy League championships. Along the way, she developed a number of All-Americans, including several Olympic gold medalists. During the 2006-2007 season, a 3-1 victory over Boston University made Digit, at the time, the most victorious coach in Division I women's hockey history. She finished her collegiate coaching career with 318 wins, the most by any Brown University hockey coach, man or woman. As head coach and general manager, she led the Boston Blades to the 2013 and 2015 Clarkson Cup titles in the Canadian Women's Hockey League. She later accepted the position as head coach and head of development for the Chinese national women's hockey team in preparation for the 2022 Winter Games, and now serves as an advisor to the program. In 2014, Digit Murphy received the Women's Ice Hockey Founders Award, established by the American Hockey Coaches Association to honor a member of the hockey community or college coaching profession who has contributed to the overall growth and development of the sport of women's ice hockey in the United States.
Hell, I never knew her first name was Margaret. She's always been Digit to me. Please welcome 2019 Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame inductee, my former broadcast partner, by the way, Digit Murphy, presenting her with her Hall of Fame medallion, best friend and coach of women's hockey at Salve Regina University, Beth McCann, and Digit's proud mother, Margaret Reese.
They tell me that I have to keep this brief, but, you know, I love this. I've been coaching my whole life. I've been inspiring my whole life. And GD it, I'm going to have a little speech right now. So, first of all, Richard Oliver, thank you. Where are you? Yeah. He goes, you're going to let me know about your speech? You're going to let me know? Okay, Richard, you are the man. Thank you. So, hello everyone. So exciting to be here and to be honored, you like these? By the hockey community. It's truly a great night. I have to start by congratulating the other honorees, so deserving. I am humbled by the company of hockey royalty. So thank you very much, everyone. I talk about this all the time. I just can't believe what Rhode Island has to offer in the hockey community. We have the largest hockey heart on the planet. It's because we are a little state with a giant hockey heart, and we have fabulous people that turn out great people. And you know what? Where's Bill Belisle? Where the heck is that guy? Yeah, it started with you, baby. Thank you. I got to thank the Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame committee, all the guys, Richard Lawrence, Ray Morgan, you know, everyone else on the committee, and Vin Samini and Mal Goldenberg. I drove them crazy. I think these guys, they love what they do. They work so hard to put on this great show, so thank you guys. You guys are awesome. I'm gonna try to go fast because my mom's up here and she has to like stand up the whole time. So I have to thank these lovely ladies that I'm with. My mom, Margaret Reese, whom without her strength, courage, and perseverance in life, I would not be here today. She is a free spirit who never told me no, you can't do it because you're a girl. She accepted me unconditionally and let my sports career thrive. So thanks, Mom. I love you so much. My best friend and true family, Beth Murphy McCann. She's been an instrumental force in my formative years of athletics by being my greatest ally and cheerleader. She supported me, and we just plain out had a blast back in the day. She's the reason I'm here and nominated me. But it was her brother, Jimmy Murphy. You probably know that name. He was a force at LaSalle and the Yale captain, a true legend who literally made me go to Cornell after I had declared that I was headed to UNH on a full scholarship. I mean, things would have been very different without Beth and her family's influence on me. Thank you, Beth. Now, my family. I mean, when we think of all the hockey people in the room, we all have the family at home who supports our hockey habit. My family has supported me and been on the tour with me their whole lives. I am forever indebted to them and their unwavering support. First, my partner, Rhonda Kirby, who has supported me unconditionally and has always been there to be the better half to my hockey crazy. Without her support, what I do would not be possible. From being the ops to my hockey camps and clinics to helping co-found the Rhode Island Express for little girls back in 2007, to supporting the first ever North Smithfield girls hockey team, the first in the state, to being the GM of the Boston Blades and then co-founding, get this, we co-founded the first ever professional women's lacrosse league. That's true love and family. So thanks, Ron. I love you. My kids, Kevin, his wife Carly, Brian, Megan, Sean, Olivia, Griffin. We have a lot. We have a whole team. All of our kids have worked tireless hours at Digit Murphy Hockey School, and Brown was their playground growing up. They all played a role in the development of Digit Murphy. They taught me patience and made me a better coach. They are all great citizens, and I'm proud of all of them. Thanks, guys, for being there for me. I love you. I'm almost done. Woo woo! My players and friends that came to support me, my college friends. I mean, I get a guy that came from Cornell, Mike Rosa. He came all the way to be here to see me. Like, that's true love. North Smithfield friends, lots of women who made it happen along the way. Play It Forward Sports Foundation board members, way too many to mention. But these guys or gals are the backbone of what I do. Because Aranda always says it takes a village. We also have some of our players here tonight. Katie King, 4-time Olympian. Tara Mounsey, 3-time Olympian. Karen Emma, part of the Brown family. They believed in what we were doing at Brown, and we put Brown on the map for women's hockey. I'm almost done because I got a story. My first coach and founder of the Cranston Panthers, Jackie Bogosian, is here with her daughter and my close friend, Sissy Bogosian. I want to thank them, and I'm going to tell you a quick story, and you're going to love this. It's about what I've been preaching since I found out I couldn't wear the Little League jersey back in the 70s because I was a girl. This is about opportunity. Because of sports and my inability to have access to sports in the 60s and 70s, my life has become about what it means to have opportunity and what having opportunity can do for girls and women. The story starts at the Ice Bowl. 2 young parents are friends with the Zamboni guys at the Cranston Ice Bowl. These young parents have kids, 10, 9, and 7. This is during the hockey days of the names Olivelli, Foco, Hebert, Murphy, Don and Jim, Capuano, Bennett, Donatelli, Ernst, Belisle, Quinn. I could go on, but you get my drift. The most important name to me, however, was Bogosian, and her name was Jackie. Now, Jackie was married to Bob Bogosian, who was at the time the head coach of Rhode Island Amateur Hockey Association. Bob had a daughter, Sissy, and 2 sons. Jackie asked why was there not a place for her sons, but not her daughters. So Jackie Bogosian and Barbara Butler co-founded the Cranston Panthers and had the vision to have a place for girls to play way back then in the mid-'70s. Now, I was that 10-year-old daughter of those parents, Bobby and Margaret DeGidio. My brother Bobby got to play, and Marcia eventually got to play. But at the time, I was a girl and was not allowed, like my brother, to play with those names I mentioned, who would make me better. I could only play on the pond, at Fay Field or Aqueduct. Now, those Zamboni guys, God bless their souls, while my brother practiced for Edgewood, those Zamboni guys, because they knew me and my mom and my parents, they let me practice on the little rink next to the big rink. So practice I did, hours on end. Jackie found me. Jackie, stand up. Where are you? Stand the heck up. She got the first ever girls teams going, and the rest is history. Without a Jackie B and Digit M, this doesn't happen. Also, the Beth McCann coaching at Salve doesn't happen. Her scholarship at Northeastern doesn't happen. Many other girls headed to Dartmouth, Harvard, Brown, Cornell, UNH. Sissy's Jackie's daughter at Providence went on to have a stellar career at CVS as well. I mean, the chain goes on and on. You never know. Even Mounsey, Emma, and Kinger, where would they end up? We have no idea what the ripple effect is and how it happens. But what did happen was that it started a seed, a vision, and an execution by not only Jackie but Bob, because we do need those men to help that vision happen. So thanks, everyone, and especially Jackie, for sacrificing what you did. Lastly, I've placed little cards on your tables. Our latest in a creation of opportunity, something called Herstory. Co-founded by Jeff and Amanda Novotny, it's a virtual sports museum that tells women's sports stories. We believe that if we don't tell our stories, like in the movie Hidden Figures, we lose our herstory. We have one in the arena in Tampa where the 2018 gold medal team trained, and one of the stories is Sarah DaCosta. So, there's a little something on your table, and if your birthday is closest to my mom's, May 21st, you get a herstory pin, and you know what? I'll throw in a free t-shirt. So, anyways, go herstory, go Hockey Hall of Fame, go Brown, and go women. Woo, woo. Thanks, guys.
You'll find this hard to believe. Digit and I were broadcast partners for a couple of women's world championships, working for Oprah Winfrey's network. One was in Minneapolis, one was in Mississauga. I believe it was Mississauga when we were doing the game together, one of the women's world championship games, when Digit became the first broadcast partner, and only broadcast partner I've ever had, who breastfed her child between periods in the broadcast booth next to me. Because people gotta eat, right, Digit? Congratulations. Our next inductee is one of the fathers of Rhode Island hockey who arrived here in 1911 and later planted the seeds for one of Rhode Island's and the nation's most renowned high school hockey programs.
Brother Adelard Beaudet. Brother Adelard was 27 years old when he arrived in Rhode Island from Quebec in 1911. A year later, he organized his first hockey team at Sacred Heart Academy in Central Falls. As a Sports Illustrated story put it in 1985, he arrives in Rhode Island with a cross on his chest and a hockey stick over his shoulder. He is a missionary of dual purpose, coming to teach children the way of the Lord and of the slapshot. He was assigned to Mount St. Charles Academy in 1924 and took over as director of hockey at Mount in 1929. And the rest is history. Over his tenure, Brother Adelard's talented Mount teams captured 10 state championships, 3 New England championships, and 3 national crowns. But it wasn't all high school hockey. On New England's amateur circuit, his Flying Frenchman teams were comprised of future professionals who competed against all comers. In 1963, Mount's new rink was named the Brother Adelard Arena in recognition of his positive and enduring influence on the game and the rich history of Rhode Island and Mount schoolboy hockey. He was inducted into the Rhode Island Heritage Hall of Fame in 1986 and the Mount St. Charles Hall of Fame in 2012. His 100th birthday was proclaimed Brother Adelard Day in Rhode Island. He received letters from President Reagan and Bobby Orr, as well as plaques from Pope John Paul II and Jean Beliveau. Brother Adelard Baudet passed away in 1990 at the age of 106.
Ladies and gentlemen, accepting for Brother Adelard, please welcome the president of Mount St. Charles Academy, Mr. Alan Tenrero. Presenting him with Brother Adelard's Hall of Fame medallion is Brother Roland Champagne.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for a wonderful night. I want to congratulate Brian Boucher also, another Mountie that's being inducted tonight. It's been said that Brother Adelard was not just the father of Mount St. Charles Academy's ice hockey team, but he was the father of Rhode Island's love of high school hockey. And while he certainly established Mount St. Charles as a powerhouse of high school hockey excellence, in doing so, he inspired high schools to add the sport to their offerings, and he inspired youth to pick up the sport. As a teacher and coach, his MSC teams won numerous state championships and 2 national titles. And obviously, we named our hockey arena in his honor. His example and his standard for teaching and coaching remains to this day incorporated into everything that we do at Mount St. Charles. Brother Adelard, Mount's founding hockey coach, administrator for 30 years, and a vibrant force in the Brothers of the Sacred Heart, even continued to raise money for the Brothers' African missions until he died at the age of 106. Mount's identity in the hockey world got its start because of the Adelard legacy, and I'm pleased to report that what he built so many years ago is still going strong and thriving today in our coaches and players from the local area and those from across the country, Canada, and Europe that are now attending our school as part of the new Mount St. Charles Hockey Academy. I know Brother Adelard would be very, very proud. On behalf of the entire Mount St. Charles Academy family and the Brothers of the Sacred Heart, I want to thank the Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame for honoring Brother Adelard with this much-deserved recognition. And I'd like to actually present this to Brother Roland Champagne, right here. He looks like he's presented it to me, but as a Brother of the Sacred Heart, I'm going to present it to him in honor of Brother Adelard. So congratulations, brother.
Now for our final presentation before our dinner break. When this sports visionary burst upon the local hockey scene, all Rhode Island hockey was played outdoors and by schoolboys and amateurs. In 1926, he changed all that.
Judge James E. Dooley. Judge James E. Dooley brought professional hockey to Rhode Island in 1926 as the founder and owner of the Providence Reds. He was also one of the organizers for the Canadian American Hockey League, the forerunner to today's American Hockey League, and served as its president for 6 years. He later served many years as a director of the International Association of Minor Hockey Leagues. Dooley's family settled in Johnston. He graduated from Classical High School in Providence, earned a law degree from Georgetown, and was admitted to the bar in 1911. He clerked for Rhode Island U.S. Senators Nelson Aldridge and Henry Lippett. He was a state legislator and became a Rhode Island District Court judge for a short time. The title of judge remained over his lifetime. In his day, Dooley was one of the nation's premier sports entrepreneurs. Before his involvement with the Reds, he was the owner of the Providence Grays baseball team, where he started a lifelong friendship with Babe Ruth. Always a promoter, in 1928, the year after the Babe's 60 home run season, Dooley lured the slugger and Lou Gehrig to Providence for an exhibition game. At the very same time, the judge was also part owner of the Steamrollers, Providence's entry into the National Football League. Later that year, his team won the NFL championship. As a member of the Rhode Island General Assembly, Dooley's bill to allow parimutuel horse race gambling was passed in 1934, and 2 months later, Narragansett Park opened for thoroughbred horse racing. In 1938, he became president of the track and held on to that post for 22 years as his son and later grandson picked up the baton. Under his stewardship, Gansett became one of the most celebrated horse tracks in the nation, a magnet for celebrities and high society. Among the many legendary horses that raced there were War Admiral, Whirlaway, and Seabiscuit. Judge Dooley passed away in 1960. Thanks to his vision and leadership, the AHL has become the foremost minor hockey league in the world, and the Reds, one of its most storied teams.
Ladies and gentlemen, accepting for Judge Dooley, please welcome granddaughter Carol Dooley. Presenting her with the Judges Hall of Fame medallion is great-grandson Adam Dooley.
Good evening. I've never done this before, so I'm a little nervous. I'm Carol Dooley. I'm not actually a granddaughter. I was married to James Dooley, which was a grandson. Although I didn't know, have the pleasure to know the judge, I feel like I know him because of the love and admiration that my husband had for him, and just things that he said about him and spoke often about how, you know, he was a foreseer of future events, and he loved sports and sporting events and everything. And I really had a speech, but the video told my whole speech, so. Anyways, I want to thank the Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame for recognizing this outstanding man for his contribution to professional hockey coming to Rhode Island. Myself, my family, and the entire Dooley family are honored to be here and accept this honor for a great man. My late husband, Jim, has a big smile on his face right now. Thank you.
Folks, please enjoy your meal. We will be back with the rest of our program and our inductions in just a little bit. Thank you.